All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Achievement Apex podcast, the podcast where I share my knowledge and experience in the hopes that you can learn something new, something valuable that you can implement into your life to make it better in one way or another. I'm your host, Brendan Murphy, and today we're going to be talking about greed, more specifically how greed pertains to your trading and how it might be having a negative impact. First off, we have to ask, what is greed? And as it's defined, greed is an excessive desire to acquire or possess more than what one needs or deserves. And if you listen closely, you would hear me say an excessive desire, okay? Because a desire in and of itself to have something more than you already have is I think it's healthy, it's good. It's the whole reason we go to work, we want more money. It's the whole reason we read books, we want more knowledge. We go to the gym, we want a better body, okay? Wanting more than we have is good, it's productive. But an excessive desire is when it becomes unhealthy, because when it becomes excessive, that's at the point where you're taking risks that are too big, and they're probably going to lead to catastrophe sometime down the road. You see this with gambling addicts; they lose everything. Anyway, you get the idea. Okay, so the second thing we need to ask is, why is greed bad? As we just discussed, wanting more is good. Why is wanting too much more bad? And that's because when it shifts from a healthy desire for more to greed, that's when we stop thinking rationally and we start letting our emotions take control of our decisions. And I mean, I'm not perfect. I've succumbed to greed before. There was a time when I was making a fair amount of money every week, and I really liked this. I would tell my friends, I would tell my family, and then I was taking some losses. These were okay. These were all coded into the strategy. I can accept this much loss. But then when the losses became bigger than expected, at that point I was saying to myself, no, I can't take this much loss. I can't. And I stuck with it, even though I was losing more than I could handle, all because I was greedy and I wanted that big amount of profit every week. Whereas if I had just stuck with an amount that I knew I was comfortable with, I wouldn't have lost the big amount due to greed. And I also have a friend, I won't say his name, who for the longest time was quite susceptible to this. He would start out his trading with reasonable risk. He would make reasonable money too. And then as he made more money, he would get really excited by that. And he would be like, oh, this is so easy. I'll just increase my position size. And then he made more money. Wow. More position size, more money. And if you look at his graph, it's exponential, the amount of money he was making until the end. He made 100 grand in like a few weeks, I think. And then he lost it in 2 days, all because he got greedy and just wanted more and more and more. Whereas if he kept his risk low, he probably would have had 200 grand, 300 grand by now, instead of whatever he has, because he lost it all. And fortunately for him, he's getting better now. And for the last, I don't know, it's been a while, and he's got it under control and he's doing better. So that's good. Okay, so now we know why greed is bad, and you have some real life examples of what happens when it's bad. How do we know if we're being greedy? How do we differentiate in our own life whether what we're doing is productive or greedy? In your trading, there are a few signs that what you're doing is driven by greed rather than by a healthy desire for more. And listen carefully to the things I say and try to think, okay, do I do these things? Okay, so the first thing you might be doing if you're acting out of greed is panicking. You can't take your eye off the market. You place your trade and you're looking at it every 2 minutes. I've placed a trade. Oh, my phone's not there. You gotta check your phone. Oh, how's it going? Oh, I'm down $200. Okay, that's all right. Check it again. Down 400. Check it again. I'm up 200. Oh, thank God. See, I knew I was good. Then you check it again. You're down 1 grand and it's too much. You can't handle it. If you can't stop checking the market every 2 minutes, you're playing with too much money and your trading is motivated by greed. Number 2 is you violate your strategy. And this can come in many forms. This could be moving your stops. If your price is moving to your stop loss and you think, no, I can't take this loss. I'll move the stop lower because I know it's going to turn around. This is bad. Because what happens when it gets down even more? Are you going to move your stop again? Are you going to move it again and again until you lose all your money? Or should you just respect that you placed your stop there for a reason when you were thinking rationally? And if you can't do this, it means you're being greedy. Same thing with moving take profits. If you're halfway to your take profit and you're up a good amount of money, you're like, yes, this is good, but what if it turns around and I lose? I can't lose. And then you take profit before it actually reaches your take profit. Or it gets to your take profit and you're like, oh no, this is going too well. I can move my take profit higher. What happens? It doesn't reach your take profit. It does go into a loss and you lose your money. In both of these scenarios, you're losing money. In the first one, you're never reaching your take profit because you're closing your position early. And in scenario 2, you're also not reaching your take profit because you're moving it higher and then the price is dipping and you're losing more money. The third thing you might be doing, which could be motivated by greed, is increasing your position sizes. So for example, you take a $1,000 loss on a trade and you're like, oh, the market is out to get me. I need my $1,000 back. You're damn sure that the next trade is going to work out. So what do? You double your position size. I'll make back my loss and $1,000. And it loses. So now you're down 3,000. What happens? You triple your position size. Now you're down 6. This unfortunately happens with many people. They repeat this cycle until they lose all their money. If you're losing, don't increase your position size. If you're losing, the market is telling you that something you're doing isn't great. And so rationally, you might want to decrease your position size so that if you keep doing these bad things, you're not going to be punished so hard. Or just stop trading altogether because you realize you're not thinking rationally. Either either. I'm not the boss of you. Okay, the fourth thing that you might be doing, which is motivated by greed, is overtrading. So let's say your strategy gives you 10 trades a day. It's quite a lot. 10 trades a day. You do the 10 trades by lunchtime. You had a good morning. You made $2,000 that morning. Wow, that's awesome. And I've still got the whole day left. The strategy isn't going to give you any more trades. So what do? You watch the market, you see a dip, I'm getting in. And then it turns into a downtrend, you lose your money, all because you couldn't refrain from trading. If you're taking more trades than your strategy suggests, or your strategy is nearly at an entry signal, but one of the indicators isn't quite lining up, don't take the trade. If you're taking the trade because it's close enough, it'll probably work. You're overtrading and you're being motivated by greed. Okay, and the last thing you might be doing, which is the most tricky, is changing your strategy to accommodate the greedy behavior. And so, if you say to yourself, I'm not violating my strategy, I'm not going to move my stops, and I'm not going to increase my position size. But what if I just tweak my strategy a bit to allow me to increase my position size? If you do this, you're lying to yourself, okay? I'm not saying never adjust your strategy. There are times for it, and those times are when you're not trading and you're thinking rationally. If you have a position open, it's not the time to change your strategy. Okay, what if you have a profitable strategy, you've got a position open and it was going to work out well, you adjust the strategy and it tells you to move your stop and all of a sudden you lose, okay? You need to alter your strategy when you don't have positions open, when you can backtest without the influence of any emotion. Now that we know the signs of greed, what can we actually do to proactively reduce its impact in our trading? It all starts from when you're making your strategy. Everyone seems to focus on how much money they can make. I can make 100% this year. I can make 1,000% this year. Okay? What you need to focus on is how much you're willing to lose. And you need to be honest with yourself. There seems to be this idea that if you risk more, you're somehow more of a man or more of a woman. You're a risk taker, so you're going to make it. If you're not playing to your strengths and knowing your limitations, you're setting yourself up for failure, okay? If you know that you can only tolerate losing $1,000, this is the number one rule in your strategy. I cannot lose more than $1,000, okay? And no matter what I do in my strategy, I'm not allowed to violate this, because if I violate this, that's when I start thinking emotionally and I start violating the strategy and I lose my money. Okay, so what do you do once you've defined your risk? Well, come up with your rules for the strategy, obviously. Then you need a back test. 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever it is, the longer the better, obviously. Back test your strategy. Okay, what was the maximum drawdown? If you can only risk 10% and the drawdown was 15, okay, you need to possibly reduce the position size of your strategy. Okay, you've reduced the position size. Back test again. Now you've got it down to 9% maximum drawdown. Awesome. Now we can look at which trades worked out well, find out why they worked out well, and then increase the position size only on those good trades. You back test again. Okay, now the results, I've just made 50% more profit with only a slight increase in drawdown. Now I've got 10.5% for 150% reward. So now find the trades that are going bad, what makes them bad, reduce the position size on those, back test, and now you have a really good strategy that makes good profits and has a drawdown below what you can possibly tolerate. And now that you're happy with this strategy, the final thing you have to do, write yourself a note. Write yourself a note on pen and paper, a physical note that says something to the effect of this. Right now, I'm thinking rationally. I've created this strategy, I've back tested, I know exactly how it works, and I know that if I stick to it for a long period of time, the law of averages will play out in my favor and I'm going to make money. So I'm making the commitment right now to stick to the strategy no matter how I'm feeling in the moment. And then in the moment, when you're possibly feeling emotional and you want to violate your strategy, you've got that note right in front of you. Put it somewhere you can see it. And when you think about violating your strategy, read that. Because that's literally a more rational, better thinking version of yourself that's talking to you. You read it and you say, yeah, I am thinking emotionally right now. And if I violate my strategy now, it's probably going to snowball into a much bigger problem later. Oh boy, that's a trade. Whatever. Sorry if you can hear the dinging, ding, ding. Anyway, I've pretty much finished the podcast. So hopefully you now know more about greed, what it causes, how to reduce it. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Follow me on Instagram, social media, like, comment, all the cool stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.